Today is the launch of a new series of custom tackle features on this YouTube channel. So we are branching out from our traditional videos. We're still going to do those and keep those up for you. And we are just trying to venture out something new. So if you like what you're seeing, let's share those likes and subscribes and comments and let us know what you want to see, and we'll see what we can do. Today's video is going to feature the pouring of Detroit River walleye jigs, since it is that time of the year where the walleye are starting to move in, so it's perfect timing. I'd like to introduce my buddy Don Yeremy. He's been pouring jigs for over 42 years, and there's a lot of reasons why you do custom stuff. So Don, can you give us a few reasons why you are pouring your own jigs since 1979?
Well, back when we started doing this, I would go to the store like anybody else, go to Canadian Tire or whatever store that was available and pick up jigs. But the quality of the jigs and the quality of the hooks in the jigs were definitely not as good as what we have nowadays with advancing technology. It's just amazing the difference in the quality of the hook. And the main reason I started to do it is, I'll show you for example. This is a hook that was available back when I was started off. Now this hook is great for if you're fishing for panfish. It's a light wire hook, and what it is the wire is not a tempered wire. Now what makes it not good for smallmouth or walleye or something like your bigger fish is when you set the hook wire will bend. Like I'm just doing that with my hand, and you can see the difference and how that wire is bent. Whereas if you got nowadays with the quality of the hooks out available, there's no way that you're going to be able to bend that. It's a heavier wire hook, which is a tempered steel, and the hook part, even the sharpening of the hook, it's chemically sharpened now. They're much more advanced. So why wouldn't you use a good quality hook? It's like you pay your money for your rods, you pay your money for your line. The hook is one of the most important parts of what you're using. So the hook, that's why I started pouring up better quality jigs.
Absolutely, Don. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. Now, Don, I remember when I first started pouring with you, one of the big things that frustrated me was that, for example, if I wanted a 16th ounce hook or an 8th ounce hook, all you could get them on was crappie jigs and little panfish jigs. So what's the advantages of doing your own custom pouring in terms of hook size?
Well, for instance, if you're using a 3 or 4 inch bait that's more standard for smallmouth or walleye, the size 4 hook is just not going to look proper in that size of a bait. Where this is your regular 16th ounce crappie jig with a size 2/0 or size, sorry, not 2/0, but size 2 or size 4 hook. Now this here is more for smallmouth, where you have a size 2/0 hook and a 16th ounce. So that'll work for that 3 inch or 4 inch bait. For this here, the hook is way too small.
Exactly, for sure. Now I see you have a couple other hooks there. Like what are you thinking in perspective of those two hooks?
Well, these two hooks, they're both good chemically sharpened hooks. This is about a 16th ounce this is a Ned head jig. Now that's a size 2 hook. For, again, if you're fishing smaller baits,
yeah,
then that would match that. But nowadays,
yeah, if you wanted to put a 4 inch worm or something on,
exactly,
or
a 2 3/4 inch bait, which is more of a Ned size bait, yeah, it's perfect. Now they're coming out with bigger 4 up to even 6 inch baits, so you're going to need that 3/4 hook, just like that.
For sure, 100%. So basically you're getting the custom size hooks, and those are great tips, Don. Much appreciated. Custom pouring will allow you to match the size of the hook to the size of the bait. For example, this is a 1/16 ounce tube head with a 3.5 inch Berkeley power tube. The jig head is on a 4/0 hook, which is perfect for this too. It's critically important to have the right tools for the job. So in this case, they match up perfectly, and it's way better than a little 1/16 ounce crappie jig and hook that you would never be able to use and fish properly. So make sure you match the tools for the job. Another tremendous advantage of pouring your own custom tackle is that you get the hook that you want, the quality you want, and it's always your choice, not up to what you can find in the store. Don, we're currently in a pandemic situation and the supply of fishing tackle is limited at best. I know you've been doing this a long time for reasons previously stated, but can you just share your thoughts on pouring in the pandemic?
Well, you can't buy stuff, you can't get it. You're going to have to do it yourself. That's how you do it. That's how they used to do it. That's how you're going to do it nowadays.
Yeah, and today, especially with the do-it-yourself mentality, I mean, YouTube channels showing you how to do it, just like we're doing here. There's no better time to get into it. So let's get into some pouring so they can actually see what we do. Ventilation is super important to get rid of any potential lead fumes. So there is a fan that is connected to the outside and it's blowing. Right now the fan is off just simply because the volume of the fan is too loud to get good video footage. So when we're actually pouring, we'll use the fan. All right, Don, fire up the fan so everybody can hear what it actually sounds like when it's ventilating. And as you can tell, I'm going to talk a little bit louder because the fan is loud, so you can see why we shut it off when we're filming momentarily. Whenever you're working with lead, you want to make sure that it's ventilated just for safety reasons. So right now the pot is warming up and you can see that there are some molds on top, and that is to warm the molds up so that they pour evenly without flashing. We'll talk more about that at another time. Underneath the pot is a little pan for any extra drippings. Just a great idea, and to collect scraps as well that you can put back into the pot. Don't waste the lead. So just to Don's right, he's got all of his hooks lined up, and he's got, Don, could you just point to the little wire keepers there? So there's the wire keepers, and he's going to pour some hooks, and these are going on 4 hooks. I'm going to be pouring a few Detroit River jigs for the walleye run coming up. So this is basically the start of the process of pouring. Don, we are ready now to pour a Detroit River walleye jig. Take us through the process.
Okay, I've got my lead in the pot. I put the pot on, I warm it. You have to preheat the molds, preheat the lead. It takes about a half hour to take that lead and go from solid to a liquid. I've got my molds warming up again. All warm up, ready to go. So I'll grab my mold, I open it up, I grab a hook, put it in the cavity I wish.
And you have a choice of 5 different size heads there, right?
Yes, yes. And for instance, this mold comes in 2 different size molds, so you got quite the choice of sizes of that same jig head.
Wow, for sure. Lots of options.
Yes, yes.
And that's one of the beauties of custom pouring as well.
Exactly.
Great.
Just show you the difference there. So I take my mold, put my hook in, I put my little bait keeper on. It's a little bit finessey, but you get it. Put that in, close the mold up, put it underneath the pot, lift the handle, pour the lead in the cavity, let it cool a bit until it comes solid. Open it up, and it's done.
Now, obviously there's some excess on the top there,
Yes.
but we can show them how to do that. Now, you don't do that right away because...
No. Well, what happens if the lead is too warm, it doesn't break off nicely. This one here is just poured. I've had one here that I poured up a little while ago. You can pick it up. It's cool now to the touch. So the lead is harder. It's not as, it's more brittle. So when I go like this, go like this, break it off, jig is done.
Now, typically we would file it maybe just a little bit, just to prettify it, so to speak.
Yes.
Excellent. So that is basically a jig that's ready to go. You can see the little keeper barb. If you put it a little closer to the camera here, You can see the little keeper right there, and that's going to help hold the plastic in place. Right. So that is basically your jig done, other than it needs to be painted, add some eyes, and set to go. It doesn't take long.
I'll show you one that's already painted. Little different keeper, little different design, but the basic idea.
Yeah, it's a beautiful paint job on that too, Don, and that's all done powder coating, correct?
Yes, yes.
So that'll be the source of another video another day. So anyways, that's basically how you pour a jig. So it was hard to see in the video, but there is the keeper in place on the walleye jig. And once it's poured, it gets locked in there and holds your plastic. All right, Don, let's show a close-up of the actual break-off process and quick file. So it's nice and cool, and basically he's going to grab the lead, not the hook. He's going to break it off, puts it back into the pot, and then now he's going to take his little pot, and you can do these later. And again, don't want to waste or get rid of the lead, so he's just going to file off. And again, you file in one direction, and basically you just smoothing it out so it's all set up, ready for painting. Whoops, there we go. Here's a jig that has a little bit of flashing around the eye. You can take a pair of gate trimmers or lead trimmers, whatever you want to call them, and just rotate the blades around the eye, and that little piece of flashing will come off very quickly and neat. All right, so I'm going to get Don to trim it with the lead trimmers. So basically he's just going to rotate it around, and you can see that the eye is now nice and clean, and it'll make it much easier to. Now that the eye is clean, you won't have any sharp edges to cut your bait off as you're fishing it or casting it. So again, another helpful little hint. The walleye jigs are done, ready for the paint department. So that brings to a conclusion the part 1 of the Detroit River walleye jigs, and stay tuned for the exciting part 2, that beautiful blue ice powder coated job that you saw Don show you earlier is going to be displayed in the next part 2, where it's powder coating from start to finish. It's going to be super exciting, and you will learn a ton. If you've ever wondered about powder coating, you will find your answers soon. As always, if you found this video enjoyable or helpful, a like, share, subscribe is always appreciated. Take care, and we'll see you at part 2.